Hi Doug, welcome to my presentation. The topic of interest that I'll be investigating is titled The Influence of Fatigue on Exploration and Support of Decision Making and Execution in Rugby League. If you haven't had a chance to watch what Rugby League is, this is what it involves.
The dropout, brought back by Sam Burgess, oh my goodness! He said, here I am running at top speed, stop me if you can, and there were three of them there and a good thing as well.
We can see that a large amount of play involves repeated collisions between players, high intensity intermittent running and a large volume of running distances ranging from 4,000 to 8,000 meters in a game, depending on the position and also the playing level. This will induce a large amount of fatigue, while a very strong tactical component is involved, including what play to use, who to pass to, and awareness of the opposition's movements. The ability to make correct decisions is a critical factor within all facets of life, with the concept of decision-making ability having been explored in literature from an array of perspectives including medicine, sports, career, employment, and a military perspective. When focusing on the application of decision-making in sporting context, literature describes it as a complex and dynamic system that is cyclical in nature, involving the continual assessment of environmental and task concerns that are determinants of subsequent actions that an individual partakes in. It can therefore be linked that those athletes that are able to make correct decisions are more attuned to information that offers affordances for their movements that aim essentially on a specific goal, like for example trying to get past a defender and score a try. Many studies have centralized their findings on being able to measure expert performers and the direct mechanisms that have differentiated them between from sub-elite and novice athletes. The analysis of eye movement measures, verbalized knowledge of situations, decisional time, response accuracy, movement accuracy, and movement time have been applied to the affirmation notions of differentiation between performers and have been utilized within a controlled laboratory setting on numerous occasions. Studies have also looked at techniques that can be employed to train decision-making ability based on the aforementioned variables that comprise the perceptual cognitive components of decision-making. Lorenz and colleagues utilized an above real-time training intervention aimed at elite AFL players and based on results to illustrate the value of implementing a cognitive training tool to improve decision-making ability. Conversely, a small number of studies have incorporated these measures into a game context, which takes into consideration the continuously evolving interactions between the environment and individual that ensue within a competition setting. A study conducted by Jorday and colleagues specifically looked at exploratory behavior of soccer players during competitive matches over a season of the English Premier League or EPL, with results indicating a clear correlation between the ability of players to utilize searching behaviors during phases of both with and without the ball and the ability to execute skills successfully. The proposed study addresses the gap in literature for a team-based sport of rugby league to assess how exploratory behaviors, specifically relating to decision-making and execution, could potentially be effective with prolonged physiological and psychological demands during a game. A simulated protocol would be implemented due to the high training load already imposed on the athletes, and by incorporating a standardized conditioning protocol with controlled game scenarios, this would reduce the risk of injury towards athletes by limiting the amount of player-to-player collisions but still induce the same physiological demands. It is a primary aim of the study to determine to what extent fatigue has on visual exploratory behavior in aid of decision-making during a simulated game of rugby league, as well as the ability to execute skills under levels of fatigue. The secondary aim is to assess the interaction between external variables encountered during a match, in particular position of the field and dyadic nature of player interactions in relation to exploratory behavior and skill execution. It is hypothesized that there is a link between the ability to utilize exploratory behavior with the accuracy of decision-making ability and execution. With increasing levels of fatigue, decision-making skill and execution will diminish as athletes begin to explore the surroundings less, as opposed to attenuation for those that maintain or increase the number of their searching behaviors. 40 rugby league players will be recruited to participate in the study. All players recruited will be playing at professional level and at the same club, with the exception of a few subjects playing at a semi-professional level. A questionnaire will be provided to the players to determine positional groups, playing experiences, and in particular playing levels and age. Before the commencement of any aspect of the research study, ethics will need to be approved by the ACU Ethics Committee with the informed consent of all participants. 1 week before testing will commence, participants will partake in the yo-yo intermittent recovery protocol to determine heart rate max and estimated VO2 max through use of Banks-Bowes equation. All players are to be fitted with GPS garments and made familiar with the use of monitors, fitting of a heart rate monitor during training sessions, and the use of an RPE scale. Participants will be instructed to complete a log of dietary and fluid intake activities over 48 hours leading into the fatigue-inducing testing session of FITS, which will be replicated for the weeks to come when testing. On the day of FITS, subjects perform a standardized 10-minute warm-up similar to the routines on game day before the commencement of the testing period, which will be conducted by their head and assistant coaches. The simulated game protocol will last for 80 minutes in duration, with 3-minute breaks between each minute period. Game blocks will go for 7 minutes in duration, indicated by the blue squares, while the conditioning blocks will be 6 minutes in length, which will be the red squares. The training game will consist of game scenarios replicated during a typical rugby league match, ranging from the number of players and position within a game. Scenarios were determined with the consultation of 3 expert coaches and will be replicated during each of the 20-minute periods. Testing sessions are to be filmed from a side, front, and aerial perspective of the field. Conditioning protocols will be designed based on results presented within Delaney and colleagues study, which identifies specific running demands during an intensified period of a rugby league match, as well as Gabbett and Associates study using GPS data in order to utilize variables that were deemed important to replicate game demands during, including the following variables listed here. Perceptual levels of fatigue are to be measured through the use of Borg scale RPE, which will be recorded after each transition of game and condition block. GPS data will further supplement this fatigue monitoring through the quantifying of variables such as collision number, total distance, heart rate load, high-speed running distance, and exercise economy ratio to determine workload. Following the data collection process, X and Y coordinates of players can be exported onto Excel from GPS data, which will be analyzed and plotted. Measures of speed of the defending players during each attacking play will be assessed to quantify opponent pressure, as well as the distance between players during the defensive set. Visual search behavior will be counted through head movements that are directed away from the ball, with the intention of looking for teammates, the opposition, and position of objects. Analysis of participant visual exploratory behavior during times with and without the ball will be categorized into attacking and defending situations, with variables expressed as the number of head fixations, exploration number, and visual search rate in number of explorations over time. Both the attack and defense sets have their own assessments of decision-making ability and skill execution proficiency. In the attacking, decisional accuracy looked at who was the best option for the player to pass to in that situation, while pass accuracy was determined by the quality of the pass to the other player, both through a rating system of 0 to 4, which is modified from the Kempton and colleagues study in 2013. During defending, movement accuracy was judged based on the first definitive foot strike towards the same direction of the opposing player in a one-on-one situation, while tackling proficiency was based on the ability to make contact, to wrestle, and also stop the momentum of play. SPSS packages will assist in the performing of statistical analysis of the study, with a level of significance set at a p-value of less than or equal to 0.05. One-way repeated measures of ANOVA will be used to assess differences between decision-making and skill execution assessment at the designated time points within sessions and between sessions. External variables of speed of defenders and distances between defenders will be correlated with skill execution through the above one-way repeated ANOVA method, while a linear regression will be utilized to assess correlation between visual exploratory behavior and skill execution, with Spearman's correlation confirming statistically significant scores to be retained. Inter-observer tests will be included to determine reliability of coded data from post-hoc video analysis. The timeline is as follows. On the 30th of October, the research proposal will be submitted in line with the criteria of the assessment, while on 10th of November, the research proposal will be submitted through Orion and approval for ethics by the Ethics Committee. The review of literature will be ongoing, while the data collection will occur during the January periods. Week 1 and 2 will form the introductory period where players will be briefed on the study and their potential involvement should they consent to participate, and following 1 will have initial testing to determine necessary information before the testing period. Weeks 3 to 5 will be the fatigue-inducing sessions, which aligns towards the end of January. Statistical analysis of data will occur early February with continual progress of report writing. The estimated completion of the report will be around the end of semester 1, 2016. Thank you for watching, and here's just a few references if you wanted to follow